Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum. We are from KB82424D. We present about Takaful. First of all, let me introduce our group member. My name is Nur Azida binti Maizal. Next, Muhammad Ridan bin Muhammad Hirzam. And the last one is Fatih Asna binti Rashid. Let's start our presentation.
So what is a Takaful? Takaful is a type of Islamic insurance where members contribute money into a group of system to insure each other against loss or damage that occurs in the future. Insurance is the name of Takaful is actually based on Sharia or Islamic law, which explain how the individuals are responsible to cooperate and protect each other. Basically, Takaful insurance companies were introduced as an alternative those in commercial insurance industry as opposed to Islamic restriction on riba, al-bayzi, which is gambling, and the principles of al-ghara, which are forbidden in Sharia. In Malaysia only, there are various types of insurance companies that we have. We have Takaful Malaysia, Etika, Great Eastern Takaful, Sunlight Malaysia, Prudential, and many more. These Takaful companies provide various types of attractive plans for their customers, such as medical plans, hibah, even educational plans for their children. To better understand this, all parties or policyholders in Takaful are agreed to guarantee on each other back and make contribution to the mutual funds on the monthly basis anti-credit Takaful funds. Each participant contribution is based on type of the coverage that they need to their personal circumstances. There are 4 parties involved in this Takaful contract. The first one is the participants. The participant is a pupil who join the group that invest in the risk fund or pay the claims. The second one is the fund administrator. The fund administrator is the Takaful operator who is assigned as the fund manager to cover the risk. So the third one is the insured. The insured are those who are risk and assist by the fund. And the last one is the beneficiary. Beneficiary is the person who are benefits from Takaful, such as a hibah. Taking out Takaful give many benefits to its contributor in facing any risk. The first one is Takaful can provide more protection to its contributor either when they are young or old. With Takaful, contributors will not be burdened with financial problems when they need hospital treatments. Nowadays, medical costs whether in private or government hospitals are very high, so it's worth to pay RF 60 ringgit per month rather than having to pay 60,000 for the treatment cost. Besides that, Takaful can help contributors' family settle debts when the debts contributors dies through the hibah. In addition to being able to settle all the outstanding debts, the contributors' family can continue their life without any financial burdens. In fact, with the availability of the Takaful, it can be replaced the income of the contributor when the contributor is disabled or crippled or handicapped. Takaful provide absolutely compensation to replace their affected source of income. In addition, with Takaful also, contributors can provide funds for their children's education, and parents are able to send their children to university without being burdened with the height of the tuition cost. Lastly, Takaful not only can be used as a protection for individuals, but it can also protect the business from any financial loss, liability, instability of the business, and when one of the business owners dies.
Next, I will talk about 3 model in Takaful, which are Mudarabah, Wakalah, and also a hybrid model. In fact, there are some operators also use a different enterprise models such as WAK and the Tabaru model. Now let's take a look one by one. First, for Mudarabah model, this model is often used in business or industrial contracts between those who provide financing and those who operate the enterprise, where it is considered a profit and loss sharing agreement. This is a commitment made by the Takaful participants to share a portion of any profit earned by the company with the Takaful company. Through a partnerships agreements, participants and operators of Takaful firm have the right to earn income. The surplus of Takaful profit are described as a financing and additional return from underwriting on Takaful Finance exclusive. Beside a Mudarabah model, contribution in Takaful will be divided into two funds, which are the risk fund and investment funds. In the risk fund, participant will get 100% of the contribution surplus from Takaful, while in investment fund, profit will be divided according to the ratio set between participants and Takaful operators. So the concept of Mudarabah is widely used in the various Islamic contract and activities. The second model used in Takaful is the Wakalah model. Wakalah refers to an agency where one party appoints another party as representative to carry out a certain task. The Wakalah models describe company association among operators as more performing because the agent or representative to this key player manipulates their involvement in some of Takaful objects supplies through the operators. In Takaful, the principal, muwakil, and participant are the same things, while the agent or representative is considered as operator of Takaful activities. Using the concept of wakalah in Takaful, participants appoint a Takaful operators as an agents to manage their funds. So Takaful operators are entitled compensations in the form of income from wakalah fees and charged as they manage risk fund and investment funds. But in wakalah models, any profit or surplus contribute made in risk fund and investment fund will be given in the full to the participants. The last model is hybrid model. The hybrid model is combination of Mudarabah and Wakalah model that can be used in Takaful. In the hybrid model, contribution made in Takaful are also divided into two types of fund, which are investment fund and a risk fund. Investment fund use the concept of Mudarabah contract where profit are divided according to the ratio agreed by the participants and the Takaful operators. Meanwhile, the risk fund apply the concept of Wakalah contract where participants have to pay the Wakalah fee to the Takaful operators as their income because they have to manage and operate this risk fund. In addition, the surplus from this risk fund will be given to the participants. Next, we will make a comparison between the Takaful and conventional insurance. First, what is Takaful and what is conventional insurance? Takaful is a policy based on a mutual cooperation where it is entirely on the idea of social unity, cooperation and reciprocal compensation for the loss of member. The accumulated fund contributed by all participants can be used to protect other participants from risk, while conventional insurance is a policy that transfers risk to the insurance company, where the participants have to pay a premium to receive a coverage. Second, how are the pooled funds invested? In Takaful, the operator will only invest in instruments that comply with Sharia, that are free from gambling, usury, and uncertainty. Meanwhile, the conventional insurance companies are free to invest in illegal instruments such as the stock and a bond that are exposed and in conflict with Sharia law, where it involves gambling, usury, and uncertainty. Third, what happened to the profit or surplus? In Takaful, is a share among the participants and Takaful fund operators. Meanwhile, in conventional insurance, these profits are returned to shareholders in the form of dividends. The fourth is the imposition of fee. In Takaful, the operator charges a wakalah which depends on the type of product and models. The wakalah fee is similar to the service fee and it is not fixed. It means the fee to be paid by the participant will be reduced gradually until reach 0%. Meanwhile, in conventional insurance, they usually charge a fixed commission fee of 2%. Lastly, the relationships between the participant and the operator in the contracts. In Takaful, there is no relationship between the participants and the operator because the fund belongs to the participants and the operators only manage the funds on their behalf, unless they use the Mudarabah models. Meanwhile, in conventional insurance, the relationship between the fund operator and the participant is relationships of the insurer and the insured.
Next, I will pursue the issue in Takaful contract.
Takaful was introduced to get rid of elements that are acceptable and prohibited in Islam, such as riba, horror, and maisir, by changing the basic insurance contract to a contract with the concept of tabarruk. Tabarruk means a form of sincere donation given to a party without expecting any exchange or return from that party. In terms of Islamic Sharia, tabarruk is a unilateral charitable contract in which the application of uncertainty rule becomes more flexible. But many issues arise and become contentious when the concept of tabarruk is used in Takaful. In fact, there are some controversial practice in Takaful operation that contradict the concept of tabarruk. For example, claiming the benefits or sharing underwriting surplus among Takaful participants, even though they have surrendered all their rights over their contribution to the fund. This is because the concept of tabarruk itself is to donate without expecting a return, where these participants lose the right to what they donate. Therefore, it should not be returned to the participants when the policy matures or the fund is liquidated. Second, the intention of participants was practically not to donate. This is because all policyholders contribute their premiums only to protect themselves, and they have no direct intentions of donating their premiums to any party. In addition, a Takaful contract is considered to be in conflict with the nature of tabarruk when participants are required to pay different amounts of contributions depending on different level of risk exposure. Their participation in Takaful fund is conditional on a certain amount of contribution in return for a certain compensations, and if the participants do not agree with the amount, they will not be allowed to participate or benefit from the Takaful protection scheme. This contradicts the nature of tabarruk because the real intentions of the contracting parties is not to donate, but to make them eligible for certain benefits under Takaful. Furthermore, if we want to donate, we are free to donate whenever and how much we want, instead of being tied to a fixed amount each month. Fourth, a donation is not a donation if it is exchanged for another donation. This is the case in the existing Takaful model, where we have joint commitment to donate, which are one from the policyholder and the other from the Takaful fund. The use of the tabarruk concept in Takaful also raised the issue of underwriting surplus from the tabarruk fund staff. The issue is whether the underwriting surplus is owned exclusively by the participants only, or the Takaful operator is also entitled to a share of underwriting surplus. There are two main different views on the distributions of underwriting surplus. The first view considers the surplus only as a completely exclusive right of the participants, where it is adopted and implemented by most GCC countries. The Takaful operator has no direct right to enjoy part of the surplus. The second view believes that the underwriting surplus is shared between the participants and Takaful operator and is practiced by Malaysian Takaful companies. But according to tabarruk model, neither the participants nor the Takaful operator can own the surplus. This is because participants have already donated premiums, so they cannot have funds including the balance of the premium. The Takaful operator also cannot be given any title over the surplus, as the surplus ownership requires the prior ownership of the premium, which in turn makes Takaful a permissible muawadah business. According to the Takaful standard, which support the tabarruk model, the disposal of surplus should be in a manner that meets the purpose or common interest of the participants, such as accumulations of reserve, reductions of contributions, and charitable donation. In conclusion, Takaful is a contract that based on Sharia to replace conventional insurance, where it has element of riba, maisir, and harar. These issues are avoided by using the concept of tabarruk, which is donation. However, the concept of tabarruk also raises issue in Takaful. The main issue in the application of concept of tabarruk in Takaful lies in the aspect of tabarruk, which is applied out of its original nature. Tabarruk should be done voluntarily without expecting any compensations in return
and not by force. But in Takaful, participants are bound by a fixed monthly contribution, and the contribution made are expected to be compensated in the future. This will change the whole structure of the concept of Takaful to Muawadah, which is a bilateral contract where money in the form of donation is exchanged for money in the form of claims, thus allowing the issue of harar and maisir to occur. Another issue is the distribution of surplus proceeds from the management of Tabarruk funds, whether the surplus is the exclusively right of the participants only, or the Takaful operator is entitled to a portion of the surplus. To resolve this issue, an application for a conditional contributions in Takaful fund can be proposed. Takaful participants will contribute a certain amount of funds for mutual assistance, provided that if there is a surplus of funds, it needs to be distributed to the participants. The concepts allow participants to retain ownership over donation and prevent harar and maisir from occurring. In addition, the concept of wadiah yadamana can be applied in Takaful operations. The Takaful operation will act as a custodian institutions where the participant will place their funds as a deposit and increase the withdrawal of a certain amount of deposit for the purpose of indemnifying other participants. The funds will still belong to the participants, and the issue of surplus distribution can be resolved.
That's all from us. Thank you.